that answers Loku. That means the traditional coding as a text has been elevated to visual. That is Loku.
Today we are going to sit down with Padma Neelamegam, who is a loco trainer and an evangelist at Zoho Corporation. I met Padma at a roadshow and I was very amazed to know her journey. She has a double masters and a collective 15 years of experience in the software industry. She started a career and built various solutions for international clients using front-end and back-end technologies. Now she is building solutions using Zoho Creator, which is a low-code development platform. You see a clear difference here, right? That's what we are going to talk about in today's show as well. Hi Padma, we are glad to have you in this show. So how are you?
Thank you very much for the invite. Things are really good here.
Great. I'm going to start off with this question. From graduating as a physicist to becoming a software developer, how did this transition happen? What was the journey all about?
Yeah, so actually, that is a really pleasant journey because I wouldn't say that the transition was a blunt one or direct one where I was doing something with physics and suddenly jumped into computer science or software development. It was a gradual transition without my own knowledge, I would say. The reason is because after 10th grade, when I have to select subjects to get into the 11th grade to decide on what could be my career path or my profession, I decided to think about physics because physics is the subject which I like the most from my middle year school. I could see the proof of concept of the things happening around me, and that was well explained with physics. So I thought physics could be the subject which I could pursue for rest of my life, and for which reason that I didn't want to choose biology. So I have to choose a computer science stream, which could give me a lot of time to focus more on physics. At the same time, programming, okay, I was thinking programming is pretty easy, comfortable. I think it's good, easy. People used to say programming is pretty easy, computer science and all, you don't need to spend more time, something like that. And maybe those were the words which made me select computer science along with maths, physics, and chemistry. But during the course of my school, I enjoyed learning the programming, and I used to envy people who were really passionate about programming. I was not truly passionate at that time. I was figuring out what to do, but physics was my passion at that time. But I was also I was trying to understand people around me doing a lot with the computer programming, and they were so happy when they achieved something. For me, it was like I was just playing around with a logo tool where I just construct some structures, and okay, I was happy with that. Okay, that's great. So something is good that is happening with computers as well. But again, when I have to choose subjects in my graduation, I thought, okay, I have to be a little serious about what I want to do. So I still chose physics. I thought I want to go in the same line. And fortunately, I did have some programming as a subject in physics itself. So during my final year of my undergraduate, I had to do basic programming, then Pascal programming. So the programming was all through my journey. It never left me. Then I was even more serious. Okay, at least let me do my master's fully with physics only. Let me do something with physics, and I want to do something in the physics stream. Even in my master's, I had microprocessor programming. I had other kind of programming. It was all along with me. And the main reason for my transition when I have to choose a career was people around me at home. They were all into programming, IT industry. They were talking more about IT industry. IT industry was in a boom at that time. They said nothing like that. That is where the scope of life itself is, and so on. And every day, and especially my brother used to come and talk what is happening with the solution that he built. He says, oh, this is working, that is working, fantastic. I could see exactly. I did a coding and people are using it. And I think that inspired me to get into really understanding, okay, what it is. Let me also learn that. And I was actually building my skills throughout my journey until I entered into an IT industry. And my first job was into IT industry, software development, and which is where I had to apply both physics as well as my automation in physics. That really was a very good, it was a smooth transition. So I did love the journey into software programming. So that is how I ended up being a software developer. And eventually, what happened was I could see people around me all having this qualification as a computer science engineer. They will say, I've done my master's in computer application, I've done my MS in this, that, everything related to software. And I was the only one who could say that I am an MSc physics. And they would always ask me, with just MSc physics, how do you even manage doing all this? I said, maybe that's the interest which I have. And even if you just see a close relationship with physics or math, it's going to be analytical and logical. So I think that base did help me to come into this programming or software development. And then I thought, okay, let me also qualify myself, at least to answer these people, right? You are MSc Physics. Okay, let me also have something called MS in Software Systems. And that was the time when on the job I could do my master's. So that was an opportunity that was given. I did have good mentors around me, very knowledgeable, strong mentors who really guided me in the direction. And I could appreciate that better, which is when I qualified myself as Masters in Software Systems from BITS Pilani. So that's where my entire journey into IT started.
Okay, during your initial career, what was the role? What was your role? Were you a front-end developer, or how was that happening?
Yeah, I started as a front end developer, but it was a small company. So you can actually, they were being a fresher, they could only give me the small front end part. They can't directly give me the middleware or even the back end. They definitely don't want to give that to me. And with my background at that time as MSc Physics, they didn't want to take a chance at all. Yeah, it did happen. They said, okay, you start with just drag and drop the tool and play around with it. Okay, we'll see what is your creativity as far as your UI UX build solutions using Power Builder. And I was learning Visual Basic. I learned Visual Basic myself, so I knew it is just a drag and drop. And since I knew basic coding, I was able to automate it as well. But when they gave Power Builder, it is even more powerful. They say, since you know Visual Basic, Power Builder should be nothing. It should be easy. But for me, it was slightly scary because the time that they gave me to get into the project was just half a day. I need to learn Power Builder in half a day, and that evening I need to submit a module. So it was like, okay, this is taking me somewhere else. I need to be really, really serious. So I had to sit all the way. I went early in the morning to office, caught hold of somebody who was good in Power Builder, tried to understand the basic approach to Power Builder, and started working on it. And that time, actually, they didn't give us the original license of Power Builder. It's like when I try to drag and drop more than, say, 30 or 40 controls, the entire system gets crashed. And that's it. I was just worried, what am I going to learn before this afternoon to even start building some application? Then they said, don't worry. This for your learning purpose, you're given a non-licensed model, but when you do your project, you'll be given a licensed model. And that's how the journey started. So, as a front end developer, I just started understanding how to create forms, modules, where to place the controls, the sense of the UX and UI. What is the user experience I need to give? So I was learning more about it because for me it was just drag and drop. So you can build your UI the way you want it, but you should always keep the end users in your mind to build it, which is what was my first lesson that I learned as a front end developer. And then slowly they understood, okay, this girl can do something. So they took me slowly into the middleware programming and then to the backend programming, backend, the database management.
Okay, got it, nice. So, Batma, I'm not sure if you noticed this. You repeated a word for almost 10 times. Do you remember what word was that?
Yeah. What was that? I really don't remember.
It was drag and drop.
Yeah, yeah, drag and drop, true.
So I'm going to start off with that question, Batma. Tell us your love for low code and tell us your love for this drag and drop. How did that started?
Actually, I won't say that first half of the day was the day when I fell in love because I already started using Visual Basic tool at home before even finding a job. Whenever I have to go to a job, right, search a job, even as a fresher, what is expected out of me is I need to talk in terms of the tools. So even as a fresher, I should have known all this. So for which I have to build the skills already. So during my MSc, I started learning Oracle along with Visual Basic. So which is where I already started the drag and drop model. So I understood that there. But as you say, falling in love with the drag and drop really did happen when I did my extensive Visual Basic programming in my second project in the first company, where I have to build a complete end to end solution for manufacturing inventory solution for a manufacturing company. It was a chemical industry actually, and where they said you have to use Visual Basic, and the backend will be MySQL Server, and they had a legacy system in mainframes which was running for 40 to 50 years. It's a very old database that they had. That means it's not just the front end part was pretty easy for me to manage and get it done until the SQL Server connection and all went all smooth. Suddenly one day they said, okay, you built this much. There is one more layer you need to look into, which is called as the mainframes. I said, what is this new thing popping up now? I said, and they said, okay, I'll give you one night time. This is what is mainframe. Learn it and write an integration to push and pull the data from mainframe. And okay, another challenge. It was pretty interesting, but also it's a challenge, scary, because the client is very, very strict, and you know how the Japanese clients work. So it is like Monday to Friday. Yeah, definitely time bound, bug free. These two are the most challenging thing for any developer, because if you tell this, for them they will really feel scared to even type a single line of code. You should not tell them, okay, you need to finish 10,000 lines of code in 1 hour, and not even a single bug should be seen in this 10,000 lines. That's it. That's a good enough factor that you're going to throw in their face, that they will never even type one line of code. So, but that is the way we have to work. And the Japanese clients don't go home at all. Monday to Friday, they are at office. We deliver it today, and in 1 hour, we get a response. And you know how they do? It's a front end. Just imagine with a front end, we will build different modules using Visual Basic Forms, Power Builder forms. What they'll do, they take a printout and they will keep it against their printout against a light and see what how many pixels difference is there with each and every box text box, and there will be at least 50 text boxes, and there'll be some. So just imagine with those days, like 15 20 years back, if you have to really build a form, they'll have so many controls in it. It is not like make it so simple and all. So many buttons, so many controls, everything possible that it will be dumped into a form, and that they will keep it against the screen, the light, and check and see with what pixel difference it is. And in 1 hour we'll get one response from them with 50 excel sheets of bugs identified, and each sheet will talk about each and every control in that form, and that will be directly sent to the CTO of the company, and he'll be in the CC. The moment he receives it, we would have just gone back home. Morning around 2 o'clock, I would have delivered the project. I would have gone back home, and it was like a 3.5 hours time difference between me and them, and they would have already analyzed it. And one in 1 hour, I get an Excel file, and CTO calls the project leader. The project leader calls me. He says, "Why don't you come to office?" I said, "Just now I reached home. It's okay. Come home. Come to office. Doesn't matter. You can go and sleep later or sleep at office later." So I just drop everything, come back to office immediately, look into the sheets, all the 50 sheets. That's it. Really, it was so scary. That is how we all started. And actually, what I learned from that kind of client interaction or expectation was that how much I need to really think through for a solution. It is not just, okay, you ask me a solution, I'll give a snippet, I'll give an immediate solution, not thinking at 360 degrees. What could be the impact when something goes wrong in some direction? So I need to do that alternate flow of thinking. That means in a small company, at least when you have a small number of employees, right, you have to define, you have to design, you have to do the coding, you have to write the unit test cases, you have to verify the unit test cases, then integrated test cases, system test cases. Then finally, when it goes to acceptance, I need to take the proof of the unit, system, and integrated test cases and set it along with the acceptance testing. That was the way we normally work. So looking to all that, right? In 2016, when I entered into this cloud computing, cloud technology, where I saw this low code, I could say that I felt so happy and ease at work. I don't need to really think through so much, but still, the lesson that learned helped me to just to think about it, but not to spend so much time on a process, like where I need to really write so many lines of code as a unit test cases and all. Here we do have in low code and all. Now it's easy, right? You get automated co-piloting. If you take most of the low codes and all, they come out with AI co-piloting. You will get the test cases written. You just need to feed in that information, just like the JUnit. In Java programming, when we used to write JUnit modules, and we just run that module with only the input data, and that will test the entire application and say these are all the bugs in your system. Oh no, everything is perfect. It is 99% bug free. So that eventually, when I got into this low code and everything was able to be handled automatically, I just need to focus only on the way I need to build the solution and be aware of the domain in for which I'm going to build a solution. That means my vertical knowledge, I should improve my vertical knowledge, the domain knowledge. I need to give more importance to the business for which I want to build a solution. See how that much easy the life is made with a low code, and which is when I really started loving low code. I said, okay, wait, let's focus on something that is very important today for the customers. So that way, that is, I would say, is the entry point for me to start liking low code. That is one reason. Another main reason is if you take traditional programming, when it comes to the client environment, we will have to work in the closed network. That means I have to always be at office to build a solution. If there is a problem, run back home, run back from home to office, get into that environment, not only or work on it. But when I have to work on this low code cloud, I not necessarily have to be at that office environment, but I have to be in a secured network. Not that randomly I should be using data in front of others, using the production data and all, but still be aware of the environment and still I can be at home and continue my work. I don't need to run. When somebody complains that there is an issue with your solution, I just need to open my laptop and start quickly working on it. It was much easier for me. At least with the kind of lifestyle that I have to live, I felt it was a boon to me. The low code is a boon to me. The cloud technology is a boon to me. And it made me get more confidence and continue or pursue my career in IT till date.
Okay, so you were saying that you got into cloud computing during 2016, right? So, were you aware of low code even before that?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, okay, the context to enter into low code was when I have to switch career from IT to teaching. I did do my teaching for a few years in between, where I was teaching for international school, but I still sticked on to the two good subjects which I was in love with already. One is physics, that is in terms of science, because it's a primary school, I can't talk in terms of physics, it was science. The second one is computer science. So it was like, just imagine all the schools right from UKG, the kids are know how to use a mouse. and so they are supposed to start. I really don't know why even they bought in such curriculum for pre-KG and kindergarten kids. I don't see that, but yes, that is how they are interested to come to school itself. I noticed that only psychologically they come to school for this one period called computer science. So what they do is they just have fun with the mouse, draw colors, pictures, click and get the background color, fill the color. It was so interesting for them. As a kid, when the kid could enjoy so much with the computer science, why not as a grown up and experienced person do something more about it? So it was also very interesting to think in their shoes, not directly as a person who could teach. So, which is when teaching them as a computer science teacher or as a science teacher, I was actually doing this lot of analysis on how do I teach. I was only focusing on the content. Then slowly I had to think of something called child psychology. That is more crucial when it comes to teaching. I was a real serious teacher. I was only focusing on the content. And half the time I see 10, 50% kids like because they like to learn, 50% doze off. Actually, they said this female is always talking serious about the subject, let me sleep. Or their attention is gone somewhere. They keep drawing, they make paper rockets, and that was flying all over the classroom. So all that was happening as well. Then I thought, okay, maybe I am not a complete teacher. I'm just a teacher who could just impart the knowledge, that's all. But not to grab the attention, get the attention of the kids to me, and then impart the knowledge. That was the big gap. So, for which I had to train myself as a teacher. And then went into teaching. Then I saw there were a lot of struggle with even teaching. It's not easy, you need to do lot of preparations. So then I thought, okay, let me slow down. Then I took a break from teaching, and which is when, if I have to get back to IT again, because I had by then I had around 8 years of IT experience. So I thought it will be wise to get back to IT. But even if I have to get back to IT, I already had a daughter, so I have to see how I have to spend time at home at the same time at work as well. Then what could be the catch here? If I have to go in a traditional development environment, then I will need to really I cannot get into IT back, because I can't spend productive time with my family as well. Then I thought, okay, then I learned about the cloud computing. I was discussing with so many people who were already into IT. They were talking about cloud. So I was so curious to know what this cloud computing is. They were saying, why don't you get into IT? Why don't you think about cloud computing? You can sit anywhere and you can work. You don't need to be always present at office. Only when there is a necessary meeting or there's a client visit, you need to be there. Otherwise, you can think of working from home, or you can think of spending quality time at home. Be at office, at home, you be at home. So your presence at home is there, and which is when I learned about this. 2016 was the time when I took a break from teaching and came into search. I was doing a search for the cloud computing, and in the cloud computing again, you have various layers like infrastructure as a solution, platform as a solution, software as a solution. There were so many layers where I was trying to fit in myself into. So where I felt like being a developer for 8 years already. Platform as a solution could be a place to at least start with my career back again into IT. So in 2016, that is how I got into this cloud computing, and into it was this low code, where I found that there were so many companies who were recruiting developers, people with good development knowledge and experience to get into software as a solution development, quickly build a solution, try to understand, just focus only on the domain and quickly convert that into the solution and get going. So, which is where I joined Simprosoft, where they had Zoho Creator as a low code platform. That was my first entry into low.
Oh, great. Yeah. I could imagine how difficult it would have been to handle a bunch of kids. That being said, can you tell me what is low code?
Okay, you. You can put it in a simple way. See, how do we, when I want to make it little, you have something called constructional way of exchanging information. So, a question back to you in order to get the answer from you directly would be see, if at all you are given a visual tool and a textbook, which you would prefer to understand a concept or understand something? Would you go for visual?
I'll go for visual tool.
That's it. That answers Loku. That means the traditional coding as a text has been elevated to visual. That is Loku. So you can see what you're doing just by seeing that visual component. I don't need to say int I equal to 99. Instead, I just drag and drop my number field. I don't need to say string s is equal to Padma in a double quotes. Instead, I can drag and drop the single line field. So as a user, I enter Padma, that internally is understood as a string. As I enter the number in the number field, that is internally understood as integer. So how easy it is, right? So you can just go back to your visual basic tool, was what I was talking about, visual basic tools and all, right? Drag and drop. That is how it is. At the back end, things are already happening. You just need to focus on the front end part. You need to decide what you want to do here with the form, whether you want to type a number or type a letter. That's all. That's the basic difference. And kids can definitely understand number and letter by then. So when I say you just need to I wanted you, if I say, if I tell to a kid that okay, I wanted two input fields and I want an answer as a calculator. So will it be easy if I write few lines of code and tell that, or if I just drag and drop and say, oh, two number fields and one formula field, done. Number field 1 into number field 2 in the formula field. Good. So that is low code. So the low code's simple definition would be elevating the coding from text to visual. That's it.
Okay, so what I understood here is the process of coding still happens at the back end. Something that comes to my mind is a coffee machine. If I want a coffee, I don't really have to get the beans, grind it, put it on a filter, and then make the coffee. All I need to do right now is just press a button and I'll get the coffee. I'm assuming that low code tool is also very similar to that. All I have to do is drag and drop and just leave the machine to do the rest of the things.
That's true. But again, this is in a simple way for kid. Yes, that's an answer. But as a developer, if if you have to start really building good solutions and all, you will definitely focus on the domain knowledge. You will be focusing on the business case and all. That's all fine. But when you are focusing on the business case, you will need to actually focus on how this business case has to be met. Like, how will you define a form? How will you define a backend? Right? For which, if you have had a previous programming knowledge, that would make it even better. That's all. So doesn't mean that low code, you could definitely invite citizen developers. Citizen developers also will have one quality which would say. See, basically for a citizen developer, they just need to have this business operational knowledge, then communication skill, collaboration skill. All that will be the basic requirement of a citizen developer. But they should also have something called motivation to upskill what they have to. In the sense, try to understand little underneath. You don't need to go below the framework, but at least at the top layer, right? When you're dragging, dropping fields and all, you should have the knowledge of why you're doing this. You could achieve anything by anything. In the sense, I can just drag and drop a single line field, convert that into integer if you are a developer. But if as a citizen developer or maybe as a child, they will directly know if it is number, it can only be number field. I will definitely not use single line field. So there are various ways to solve a problem. But if you are having some development experience, software development experience, you could attend, or you could focus on the performance. You could focus on the fine tuning of the solution, and you could focus on the betterment of the UI UX. So these are, it's like a combination. It depends upon what kind of solution you want to build for which business case. If it's going to be really complex business case, then as a developer you would appreciate it, you will think through it better. But as a citizen developer, with discussion with, or collaborating it with other developers and also with other team members or department, you could get there already.
So, you introduced me to a new term called citizen developers. I'm assuming non-developers who wish to build an app to run their task are called as citizen developers, right?
You are right. That is the dream. Yeah.
Does that mean low code is just for citizen developers? Because what I understood from our conversation is citizen developers might find it easy to adapt to the platform when compared to the developers, because developers might be able to do a better work with traditional programming when compared to the platform, the low code platform. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No. My answer is no to it. Developers will definitely not stay away from the low code. Reason is because if you take the low code platform, each and every low code product that has come out has serves its own purpose. It's not that all the low code is meant only for small size or mid size market, and that can be easily adopted by, only can be used by business users. No, there are low codes can be used meant only for business users. You can take Airtables as an example, or even there are so many such products, right? Low code products, which is specifically meant for only business users, where you don't need to do coding. It's like an Excel sheet. You know, Excel sheet, because Excel sheet is a day to day activity until today. So, which is now the companies are moving from Excel sheet to these tools, low code tools, making it more user interactive and more good looking and more manageable, maintainable. So that certain user depends upon the business, the users of that particular tool, and it also depends upon for what business you are going to build, whether it's going to be a small simple business, or it's going to be a mid-sized business, or it's going to be a really complex business like enterprise level business solution. So it all depends upon what business you're building. So accordingly, you can place the role for the low code. It can be citizen developers, it can be the pro developers, it can be the low code developers. That means people who have been citizen developers but had some passion for programming and try to understand the details of it, and then slowly becomes a developer who could use it as a low code. That means they can write small automation. They can still do the complete citizen developer job. At the same time, they can write small automations. And there will be pro developers. Like developers are really developers who knows how to what extent they can make this low code itself more efficient by bringing in a lot of automations. That's when the automation itself is made more easy to understand in the form of BPAs, the business process automations in low code. So the features are coming out like that. So it is easy for the developers to get there. So I won't say the low code is always for citizen developers, but there is the scope for citizen developers to build a solution would be low code. You put it that way. If you're going to have a traditional development environment and going to call a citizen developer, can you come and build a solution? Do you think they will show some interest at all? If at all they have a
No,
passion.
I won't. I'll actually run away.
Yeah, if at all you have a passion for it, you will never definitely not do it. And similarly, For a developer, if you're going to give something like a no code platform, do you think they will even stand for a while? Their ideas will be bursting inside their brain, but they won't be in a position to incorporate that inside, which is where they will shift to low code. Low code is an environment or the platform which provides space for the developers. They can come and do their job. For citizen developers, they can come and do their job. So that kind of flexibility you can see with low code. So for low code, I would say anybody is invited.
Okay, it sounds like a prototyping tool for me. If I have an idea, I might do a bit of prototyping on top of the low code platform and hand it over to the developer to expand my ideas. Is that what low code is all for?
See, the low code, that is one model or way of using low code. I won't say low code is used only for that purpose, but that's one way of using low code. There is when I have to build some, that is when I told you the quality of or the skills of a citizen developer is to collaborate very well with other team members. That means the citizens, as you say, the citizen developers will play their role. Then they have to collaborate with the automation team or the developers who would sit and make it even more efficient, and they work together, and this collaboration would eventually come out as a solution. So that is for certain business cases. For some solutions, that is how it has to work, so low code can be used for the purpose. In most of the cases, low code will be simply used only for business users, where I don't need really the developers. With the simple configurations here and there, I would say definitely for a medium complex solutions, 65 to 70% definitely a citizen developer can achieve it. 65 to 70% definitely you can complete the project. At least 65 to 70% of the project can be handled just by citizen developers. That means with a mere configuration, you just need to set the properties, then do the relationship. See, that is the big challenge here, no? In traditional programming and all, you have a separate backend guy sitting, creating entire data structure, understanding the entire business flow, and trying to relate two tables, two modules, and then telling this, communicating that to the front end developer or the middleware guy who is typing the code, right, to connect the front end and the back end. He should be aware of what data is coming in and how to send the data to the back end so that it is properly connected. So that kind of collaboration and all what you see here will definitely be applicable with a low code, which is easy. You don't need to worry about it. The citizen developer's job is, that is why I said citizen developer needs to collaborate with the person as a developer so that he is able to at least set a framework properly, a template properly. If he doesn't set the template or the relationship properly, because the relationship is also a simple drag and drop, right? In low code, most of the low codes, it is like that. If he doesn't do a proper drag and drop, he doesn't set a proper relationship between modules, then it will be very difficult. You're going to randomly do something, and eventually, when there is a problem, you already have a data inside your production environment. How will you go and change the entire setup, configurations? It's going to be very tough. That's why I said collaboration is the key role in low code platform.
So I have a question here, Batma. You said that 65 to 70% of the work can be done by citizen developers using this low-code platform, right? So in that case, what is the future of app development? There are two ways to see this, right? Citizen developers and the platform, the low-code platform as such, will address the scarcity in this industry. And the second is low-code might snatch away the jobs from developers. So what is your take?
Okay, you mean to say what would happen to the future for the developers if this low code is going to grow with citizen developer as a prominent users, right? The prominent people will be using the tool. I would say that will never happen. Developers' scope is all the time going to be there, because when you look at the real time problems around you for which you want to bring in automation solutions, you will definitely need some kind of developer thought process, or you will need some kind of extensive pro coding also. The coding is necessary because when in 2016 when I started with creator as a low code, what happened was I thought, okay, any low code, once it's going to be there, I will not be having a job in next 5 6 years or maybe 10 years. I'm not going to have a job at all. I'm not going to be a developer. I'll be simply doing this. I'll become a citizen developer rather than a developer. I'll become a citizen developer. And eventually, it's going to be the one who is doing the requirement gathering and working on the design itself is good enough. I don't need any of the resource there onwards. Testing is taken care, development is all gone. So, all taken care, nothing is there. What is the role of a developer there, tester there? Nothing is necessary. So, the company can just have only 2 or 3 people. That's enough. They still can run a good business. I was thinking so, but it is not so. With any kind of low code platform, you will definitely need some kind of extensive automation to be achieved for customized business process. If I have to have a customized business process, the citizen developers alone cannot do it. The developers need to, they will be in handy actually for the citizen developers to complete the entire solution. And that is the reason most of the low code platforms, if you see, they have opened the doors for pro coding, in the sense other programming language coding. Some low code platform supports Python, some low code supports Java, and some supports Node.js, Java, widgets. Why should they even do that? Because they have to use that for building good solutions. And if they have to use that feature, developers need to be in phase. So I would say the developer scope will be gone. Maybe for the low code products to come out well, the developers would be a challenge for them. They will say, okay, these developers are still doing some kind of coding there. Let us do something with the low code. So there will be like a challenge between these two, the low code tool that is coming up and the developer. As the low code tool keeps becoming more and more, how do you say, call it, more and more efficient and ease of use, the developers will try to think through. The developer skills will also be equally developing. It's not that it stops there, because even in any low code, you will, some low codes, if you see, you will have a natural other conventional languages like Java, Python, and all so on. But in some of the low codes, you are going to introduce proprietary language. If you don't use the proprietary language, you are not going to use the 100% low code concept, right? So where you will need a developer there, without a development knowledge you cannot get there, at least to make it 100% complete. So developers will necessarily be there, and their scope will remain all the time. And that will really help the citizen developers to build a better solution using the low code platform. So it is like this. All will go hand in hand. They have to work together. That is my way of looking at it.
So, do you think that developers have enough awareness about this tool, or do they still hate this?
No, 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 I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The developers, see, if they're going to, if you see true developers or real developers with extensive programming knowledge and skills, right? For them, it would be the tool which will be scared of the developers. Definitely not the developers scared of the tools. Definitely. That's why I said that it's the developers are the challenge to the tools. The tool should will start becoming more and more efficient, seeing the developers. Because if you take any developer who comes and looks at the tool, they'll say, oh, you can do only this much, huh? It's in traditional, we have more flexibility. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. I don't have any constraint. That's how the developers will claim. As we train them on the low code platform, what happens is I could see some of the developers come and say, oh, you can only do this much, huh? I did a project where I could do so many things. You're saying there is a restriction, there is some boundary limit, you can't do something beyond it. It's not that we can't do, the tool is evolving. That's why I said it's an evolution. Tool is evolving with the developers. So there is no scope that the developers will not exist at all. Tool will become more and more powerful seeing the developers, and developers will become more and more skilled seeing the tool. So it's like a complementary here, actually speaking. I would say I did develop lot of thought process itself being a developer only seeing these low code tools. If I had been a traditional developer, I'll think, okay, I'll be doing my own module coding, business logic, and it will go on and on with whatever use case is given to me. But seeing a tool, I will take it as a challenge. Okay, this is what I have to solve with the tool. How do I solve it? What are the ways with which I can solve it? That is how the developer will think seeing a tool. See, they will complement each other.
I mean, developers have to understand that this is their brainchild. Probably, if they can groom this and get the maximum out of it for the future, then it would be really nice.
Yes, definitely.
So, that being said, Batma, low code was around the corner for almost 2 decades now. If the tool can help developers to get their job done quickly, why didn't they adapt to the platform completely?
No, they are. No, they are. They are adapting. Or if you just look at, see, when I was looking back, I was thinking, okay, I moved on to low code, I moved on to cloud, but most of my technical managers and my reporting managers and all, the person whom I was reporting to, and all, they were working in the same company, the same service company. They were doing the same kind of coding again and again. I was wondering what is happening. Why is that they are not liking to come to low code? But I was just waiting for some time, observing what they were doing. Suddenly, I just saw that that particular person, the technical manager, put his profile in the LinkedIn saying that now I'm certified low code developer. I'm a certified cloud computer. Oh, okay. The things are changing. It's a service company which was only building solutions using Java and other stuffs. It's a networking domain. They are now that person is saying, oh, I'm very happy to announce that I've completed my this AWS certification, cloud certification. Okay, people are coming inside cloud, so they will come inside low code, and most some of the companies are adopting low code now. Most of the companies are getting there, but it is taking time. It's taking little time. It all depends upon, they have to evaluate the low code tool, right? How much, see, if you want to do a transition, just see, from citizen developers point of view, coming inside low code is much easier and faster. For them, it is just a visual way of looking at things. But for a developer to come inside, you have already have a wide knowledge, you have a broadened outlook on software solutions, and now you're just giving them one small tool saying 80% of your job is already done by the tool. Just imagine they have to come inside it and then they have to use their knowledge around it. It will take its time there. For that one reason, you know what is happening with the low code today? They are introducing pro code features in low code. They said, developers, please come in. You do have a scope for you to do some programming here. You don't need to really worry. You don't need to simply come to office and drag and drop, but you can also do some kind of programming. So it's like an attraction, right? You need to attract the developers here, and developers are happy. Once having this widgets and all, they are very good at it already. They said, okay, you have widget, let me come there. So once you land here, you will start developing the taste for the actual low code. You don't need to worry about the infrastructure, you don't need to worry about the development tool. You just need to focus only on the solution and your programming knowledge, that's all. And the life is made more easy. And do you think the younger generation is going to really focus on hard work and all? No. Easy way out. How do I easily get things? So I would say it could be the future. This is going to be the future, and it could be even more easier. There would be another term about low code. There is no code already, yeah, something else which would be a more attractive thing to the younger generations. So I think low code is the way, and most of the companies have already started adopting it. Only thing, it is taking time for them to come there with full trust, because it's business. End of the day, it's the money they make, the profit they make. So it'll take time.
Okay, Vatma, just being curious, you would have built a lot of solutions in your career, right? If you can go back in time and swap traditional development with low code and rebuild the same solution, what would that be?
Most, I would say 60% of the solutions that I built using the traditional tools and traditional programming languages and all, I could build those using low code in just 10 days. I used to build it for 1 year, because it's not just me alone will be sitting and building. It's like a dependency on various teams there, and also dependency on how I could share my environment with the client to test it and get back to me. And it is like this. Now, if you just take low code and all, the client will give us a requirement and he will walk off. What will we do? We'll be pondering over the requirement. We will start working on the requirement, and it is like a agile model. We will just show him little by little, and the client will know, okay, these people are doing something, so it is happening. And in 10 days, he can see at least 90% of his application working. In 15 days, he can take it to production. Whereas when we have to build the same solution, the solution which I built for inventory, there were two, three inventory management system solutions that I built. One I built for automating an MRI machine, where I have to use a Visual Basic code in order to a tool in order to get the input and take that input to drive that machine, where it involves the data that is running through cables. So, though some kinds of complex solutions which we used to build for days to months together, and we used to give them that EXE alone to the client, saying that, okay, we have put that Visual Basic EXE project that we built as an EXE, test it in your environment and get back to us. They will test it, then they'll get back to us with 100 bugs. Again, we'll put that EXE in the environment. They'll test it, give back to us. So it was like so tedious to work and get things done. Say, the project which I can build in 15 days, I took at least 6 months to build alone, is 6 months, and getting into acceptance and then going into production is another 2 months. So almost 8 months for me to build an inventory system. Today, I think with just the basic inventory knowledge, even if it is given in your hands, won't you be able to do it with any low code that you know?
True, true. Yeah, yeah. Got
You
it.
would be, right? Because yeah, you just need to just look into one video where you learn about the low code usage. That's all. Usage of tool. It clearly says simple things, and you will just follow it. You're getting there. That's all. You will never make a mistake. So you don't need to worry. Oh, there is a runtime error. There's a this error, that error. Infrastructure is not working. Network problem. No headache at all. Okay, this particular person built one module and he is gone. He has not saved that file. He has not put it into VSS. He has not given it to me. No collaboration those days. And it used to be like the team will go on coffee break in between work. And for us, it is like I need to finish it and leave for my house, because for me, by 6, 7 o'clock, I should be at home. If that is a condition, I have to wait for that guy to complete the module and give it over to me. I should integrate it, test it, and then go. And it is not going to happen easily. So that day, instead of leaving at 7 o'clock, I'll be leaving midnight, 12 o'clock, because all this collaboration has to happen. He will come back, he will test it, he will have 100 bucks. He will fix it, test it, and suddenly he'll be gone. I don't know where he is gone. I have to wait for that person, or I'll be gone. That person has to wait for me. This is like, most of the time it is like you wait for things to happen, but here it is not like that. It's a very beautiful low code platform itself is a collaboration model. Okay, you do the coding, you cannot save it. If you have to leave the place, you have to save it, right? If you have to save it, you should not have a bug, right? So he will fix that and only go. So if he is not there, I know that he has saved it and I'll be able to work on it. Or at least I will take the code and I will start working. I don't care about the guy. Okay, you are not there. I will take the code and I will do it. I will take the module and I will fix it and finish it. It's easy. Anybody. It's like all are having the same knowledge there, right? You don't need to have, okay, I'm good in back end programming, so only I can handle that part. You're good in front end programming, only you can handle. There is no I can, you can concept at all in local. It's like all of us are same. So that way, I would say it saves a lot of time, and all the solutions that I built for months, I could build in days.
That's a lot for me to process right now, Batma. I'm sure I'm going to take a break here. Can we have a quick rapid fire round with you? I'll ask you a couple of questions and you have to just answer them straight from your heart.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I'm not good at that out of the heart person, but anyways, I'll try.
So, traditional development or low code, which is your current love?
Both.
No, I'm not going to take that. It looks like a makeup answer.
No, both for me. Okay, low code. If you really want to answer, okay, low code.
Okay, okay. So, my next question, which is your favorite programming language?
Java as a middleware and JavaScript client side is a front end, and Oracle DB is a backend.
Okay. So, your favorite low code feature?
That's a very good question. Hmm. There are so many features. Okay, subform. Okay, the kind of the relationship, setting relationship between two modules. Building relationship is a favorite feature of mine in local.
Okay, great. So, what is the most common low code misconception that you have heard of?
The common misconception would be like there is no future for developer.
Yeah. We have heard that a
That is
lot.
definitely.
So, super. So, here is the last question. Which is your favorite low code tool? Don't be biased.
I need to explore more in order to answer this. But okay, with my experience, I have to. You can call it as biased or not. I do. I really like Zoho Creator.
Reason being?
Maybe because I have more hands on it. That's the reason. First reason I would say. But also, when I try to understand the other low code features, stuffs, I did like OutSystems.
Okay, so what is the major gap between OutSystems and Zoho Creator, Batma?
I won't say. Okay, major gap is, I can't call it a gap because creator is almost, it is there, it is coming there, it's evolving to that point. uh, Thing is, it's easy to, you have a solution like a Java or something outside, you can bring it in, you can just plug it in or bring it in automatically or something like that. That is one interesting point which I saw in our systems. And some of the customers did claim it, claim that OutSystems is good for that one reason, because they did have some kind of solution already built with Java, and they said I can easily import it inside and make it as a low code. They asked one question: can you do it in Creator? I said, yeah, you cannot import it. Maybe you can create the same Java kind of a thing inside. You need to copy paste the code inside. That is one small challenge which I could see, but I don't know whether it is a challenge or which is even necessary. Maybe that's not the way I mean, Zoho Creator is looking at. So it all depends upon what they want to do, what is offered by the tool, and to whom it is offered.
Okay, good. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed asking you those rapid fire questions. Before we close it, I just have one final question. If someone is considering low code for their organization or for their personal use, what advice would you really give to them?
My advice would be, if you have to choose a low code tool, then try to understand the kind of solutions that you're trying to build. Because if you take any organization, they will be focusing on a particular vertical. That okay, let's build only solution for this particular vertical, or this particular solution, or it could be enterprise-based solution. So think through the solution, analyze what would be necessary in order to build solutions using the tool, and pick the tool accordingly. You should not be choosing the tool for the factor that it is low priced, or it is low maintenance, or it is easy to understand. Just don't go with that alone. See whether it is compatible and applicable to run your business, to build any kinds of solution that you are actually focusing on or your organization is focusing on. So my advice would be to analyze the purpose and analyze the logo tool before choosing one, not for a specific reason.
Great. So, yeah, that brings us to the end of the session, Batma. I had a really great time listening to you. I hope you also enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you very much. It was also nice talking about it, and also it is like reinventing my love for low code again and again whenever such talk happens. But I hope I conveyed things as that has to be conveyed. So it was nice talking to you as well.